I've been dreaming about this my whole life. Magellan's gold. It's the biggest treasure that's never been found.
5 billion, easy.
How have you been?
I've been really well. It's nice to see you again. I have not seen you since Regal fans flocked to the box office, making No Way Home so close to being the biggest movie of all time. Have you had a moment to like take this in yet? Like, has this hit you?
It's been interesting, you know, I've had plenty of time to sort of, you know, assess what's been going on and let it sink in, but it's one of those things where it still doesn't feel real. So it can be incredibly overwhelming, but I am enjoying the ride. I'm very grateful for all the love and support we've got for Spider-Man, and equally enjoying the enthusiasm and excitement we've had for Uncharted.
Is it true you started really playing this game during Homecoming? Is that true?
Yeah, it is true. You know, when you make these bigger movies, they can be hours sometimes in between setups for various different reasons. So I was in the trailer with my best mate and we were playing Uncharted, and once we'd started it, we couldn't put it down. The game lends itself to the big screen in the sense that it's so cinematic, the story is so compelling, these characters are really funny and, you know, lovable. So it was an obvious choice to make it into a film. I just could never have thought that I would play Nathan Drake. So I was delighted when I got the phone call.
Hello? Hello?
What's so great about Uncharted is that it's an origin story, right? So like if you have been playing this game for years or if you've never played it before, everyone is going into Regal on the same page at the same time, which I think is the coolest. What are you allowed to tell us about where we find everybody?
First and foremost, we had to make sure that we satisfied the fans of the game. These characters are beloved by them, and you know, they're controlling the game and the characters, so now all of a sudden they've had to relinquish this control. We just wanted to really entertain people and take them on a wild ride and an adventure with the humor and everything else, but we also wanted to be able to kind of introduce the characters at a little bit younger age, so we could kind of develop into the characters that they know and love. So they see glimpses of it and we start to become, but Tom obviously is a little bit younger, so seeing him become, you know, from the kind of naive, younger Nathan Drake into a man, which is really fun. And then, you know, you really see him come into his own. So I think people are gonna dig that.
I imagine that playing a video game is not bad research, right? I mean, there could be worse ways to like prepare for a role.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, when you're a kid, your mum would say to you, go outside and play. There's no future in video games. And now I can sit down and play a video game and say, actually, Mum, I'm technically working, so leave me alone.
Moms are not always right, Tom.
Not always. Most of the time they're right.
Most,
yes. Not always.
I've been attached to this thing for so long. I was familiar with the game early on, and then the movie just was kind of in limbo, so I kind of detached myself from the game. Then I had 4 kids, and if I started playing a video game again, even if it was for research, my wife would have told me to research a divorce lawyer.
What can you tell us about your character, Chloe Fraser?
Badass fighting girl who's smart and knows what she wants and ruthless.
Who do you think would find treasure faster, Mark Wahlberg or Tom Holland?
That's a really tough question.
It would probably be Mark Wahlberg because he is so much wealthier than I am. You need a huge amount of money to go on these expeditions because they are wildly expensive. And he is, I'm not sure what he's worth, but I'm damn sure it's a lot more than me. I've been to his house and it's massive. Houses, yeah.
Yeah, his house is like the size of like 5 hotels. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mark, just because it's illegal.
Oh, myself. Absolutely. Tom's spending too much time worrying about Tom. You know, he's got to figure it out. You know, it's like he's 25. I don't spend too much time looking in the mirror these days. I'm off to go after it, and I'm getting after it at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm the old wise man who just knows how to get it.
Speaking of crazy, these stunts in this movie are insane, and they put you in a light that we've never really seen you in. I could not help but just think of like the box scene alone is absolutely epic, and in doing my research, I mean, it took you 5.5 weeks to shoot that scene.
Yeah, it's interesting. 5.5 weeks doesn't seem like a long time, but when you're in a harness for every single shot of those 5.5 2.5 weeks, it's really brutal. Hanging off of those boxes and falling off the boxes and jumping from box to box and fighting people on the boxes. And it just was one of those things where it felt never ending, you know, and it got to a point where we were sort of saying like, guys, have you not got enough? And, you know, it was the ambitions of Ruben and Scott Rogers, our second unit director, that, you know, kept us pushing forward. And I'm really glad we listened to them because, you know, everyone seems to want to talk about that sequence. It's very impressive and, you know, an incredible feat of filmmaking. So I'm glad that we persevered and stuck with it.
Congratulations on what a year you have had, and I can't wait to see what's Uncharted for you next. You're the best. Great to see you.
I appreciate it. See you next time. Thank you.